a lot of people don't know Joseph Smith, who was the founder of the Mormon Church. In 1844, he was made a Master Mason in Nauvoo, Illinois. And after he was made a Master Mason, he kind of stole most of the Masonic ritual and created this temple ceremony. If you go to Temple Square, you'll see Masonic handshakes, you'll see the all-seeing eye, you'll see the sun, the moon, the stars. There's no crosses on the Mormon temple. There's nothing Christian on the outside of the Mormon temple. When you get inside the temple, most of the similarities are the fact you go through 3 levels. And in each level, you're taught hand signs and handshakes and things that are all very similar to Masonic stuff. And you are made to swear an oath. In the first level, you put your hand to your throat and go like this, the same as you do in the entered apprentice degree of the Masonic Lodge. In the third level, you are taught another set of secret handshakes, and then you're instructed, and this is where it gets really Masonic, you're instructed to go up, and they have this veil, which they say is like the veil in Solomon's temple. So you've got Masonic markings. You have a square and a compass on your chest. You have another marking on your navel and another Masonic marking on your knee. These same markings are on the veil, but they're stitched so they're holes. And there's a guy on the other side of the veil that you can't see who represents Heavenly Father. He represents God. And you go up to this guy and you're instructed, you put your hand through the veil, and this is called the 5 points of fellowship. And this is right out of Masonry and right out of witchcraft. Gardnerian, Alexandrian witchcraft and Masonry and Mormonism all have these 5 points. And the 5 points of fellowship are foot to foot, knee to knee, hand to back, breast to breast, and mouth to ear. I think I got that right. And anyhow, so you're embracing this unknown guy through this veil, and he whispers to you the secret name of the celestial kingdom. And you ready for this? It's health in the navel, marrow in the bones, strength in the loins and in the sinews, power in the priesthood be upon me and my posterity for all generations of time and all eternity. Now, that might sound reasonably benign, except for the fact that it's almost word for word out of the satanic grimoire. It's a satanic incantation. The only difference is that obscene words are used. And then, when you're done with that, this guy draws you through the veil into what is called the celestial room, the celestial kingdom. And basically, it's like this beautifully appointed, everything is in white or light beige, with sofas. It's like being in a really fancy hotel lobby. And people are invited to just sit and absorb the wonderfulness of it. And they believe, literally, that God the Father, who they believe to be a man in a body, and they believe that he invisibly walks around this celestial room. And I don't know if you know this or not, but they believe he has hundreds of goddess wives, and that he is constantly impregnating these wives who give birth to spirit children. They believe that every child that is born on earth is first fathered in heaven with Heavenly Father and one of his goddess wives. But anyway, this is where it gets kind of odd, because we were invited to go meet with the president of the Salt Lake Temple, which is kind of a big deal. And he said, "What can I do for you?" And I said, "Well, we've been told that we need to talk to an apostle." Now, understand that in the Mormon Church, there's this hierarchy. There's the prophet, who's called the president, and then there's the first presidency, which is 2 advisors and the prophet. Under them are 12 apostles. So he said, "Well, I'll see what I can do." So he arranged for us to go to the church office building and meet with one of the 12 apostles. At that time, it was Elder James Faust. So we went there, up into the church office building, and to make a long story short, he said, "Well, what do you want to talk to us about?" I said, "Well, we had these dreams." And this is true. And again, back then, nobody knew what was going on in the Mormon temples. And I said, "We saw this ritual where there was this white altar with a satin covering, just like what's in the celestial room of the Mormon temple. And on it was was this naked young girl, and everybody was around it chanting, "Hail Lucifer." And he said, this apostle guy, he said, well, I can tell you are very extraordinary people, and I bear you my solemn testimony. This is a big deal. If you ever talk to a Mormon, if they start saying, I bear you my solemn testimony, this is like a big deal for them, that what you have said is true. And if you can come to Salt Lake and live here, we will find a place for you in the worship of the temple.